First, I'd like to talk about anger and what anger is. Well, we all know what anger is. It's a pretty intense emotion. It's a very difficult emotion to manage. That's why people talk so much about anger management, and why so many people you know, maybe yourself, people out in the world have difficulty managing this emotion, because it's a very intense emotion. It's volatile. It's not predictable emotion. It's an emotion that many of us have had bad experiences with when we were younger. We may have had a parent who has lost their temper, another parent who became silent or ignored us when they were angry, withdrew when they were angry. So most of us don't have a good model of how to deal with this emotion. Therefore, as adults, it becomes very difficult to manage anger, as we see by all the harm that people do each other in the world on a daily basis, and with their loved ones. They hurt their loved ones, they rude to strangers or hurt strangers, aggressive drivers. It happens in all forms. It happens between nations, where people going to war. I mean, one of the main roots of all this dis-ease in the world, all this dysfunction, all this irrational, criminal and hurtful and war and torture behavior, is an inability to manage the feeling of anger. That's one of the primary roots of all this. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what brings anger about. There are certain triggers that seem to be universal that bring anger about. The primary trigger is threat. When we're threatened in some way. That might be a threat to our survival. It might be a threat to also our loved ones if they're threatened. The threat might take the form of an insult. It might take the form of an abandonment, and that may manifest by someone not returning a phone call, an email. That, if we've been sensitive to abandonment in the past, I'll say traumatized by abandonment in the past, our anger will get activated more quickly when we're threatened in that way. So there are certain triggers. Let me give you some more triggers, basic triggers of anger. Rejection, lack of appreciation, neglect, interruption, if we're speaking and someone interrupts us,